They are back in the regional finals for the first time since 2019. They head to the regional with a perfect record. The Cougarettes have not lost a game this season. They've played 3 straight one-game playoff rounds and have won them all by a combined margin of 21-3. They talk about the pressure of going undefeated in the playoffs.
No, it's definitely one of those things where it's like every single game you just forget about it. Like we play as the Canyon Cougarettes and not as a 28-0 team, and I think that's what makes us different from a lot of other teams because we're very humble about it, and I really enjoy that about this team.
We take every game like we don't take it lightly. I mean, we work hard every day just to be where we're at. We practice in the rain whenever everyone else is not. So I mean, I think all of our hard work has really paid off.
This will be a little rivalry going on here. Canyon swept both games against Smithson Valley this season, 7-0 and then 2-1. And they're going to face the Rangers in the regional final starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The buzz getting louder at East Central. Their softball team is still making school history, now advancing to the regional final for the first time ever. The Hornets have been one of the area's best teams over the last few seasons, and the senior class has been a big part of their success. But underclassmen like pitcher Janice Ramirez and infielder Izzy Estrada are big reasons why they got over the hump this year.
Chemistry needed to get worked into that process early on, and as we did that and as we grew, we knew that we started to elevate. We knew that we had something special and that these girls were strong and they were building a relationship and a commitment to one another, and here we are.
East Central squares off against San Benito in a 3-game regional final series starting tonight in Beeville. You can watch the entire series live on the BGC app. More history, this time college softball. Our Lady of the Lake softball team has already posted the best season in program history. They're going 40-4 overall so far this year and earning their first berth in the NAIA Softball World Series. They're currently ranked number 2 in the nation. And we now know it is a special season. We wanted to know if they realized how special it is.
Yes, it was going up to Oklahoma City on, I believe it was like February 27th, and around that area. We beat the number 1 and top 5 team, and after that we all look at each other and we're just like, hey, like this is it, like we have a chance. Okay, it's pretty simple just to like go up there and just like lose because they're a really good team. But after we beat them, it was kind of like expected, like we can do this.
Well, the Saints have a first-round bye. They're going to take on their first World Series opponent Friday afternoon in Columbus, Georgia. NBA playoffs, where the Boston Celtics were able to rally in their game against the Miami Heat, stopping a sweep. The Celtics were finally able to get things going at both ends of the floor in unison in their Game 4 win. They took advantage of 16 Heat turnovers. Their three-point shot was falling, and they're now down 3-1, headed back home where they lost the first 2 to Miami. So now they have to take advantage of being on their home court.
Big win. Big win. You know, anytime you get the win in the playoffs, it means a lot. Definitely with our backs against the wall, we didn't want to go out like that. So we galvanized last night, and we all wanted to come out and win. And to be able to come out and execute and do it is big. So now we take it back home into the Garden and try to keep that and carry it on and try to get another win.
We let go of the rope on the defensive side of the ball, turn the ball over, didn't get back in transition. All the things we said we were going to do, we did not. And that was the game. And it got out of hand pretty early. Our energy was low, which we cannot have. And it's on myself and it's definitely on the starting group to make sure that that doesn't happen.
So it is the Celtics and Heat tip-off 7:30, Game 5 tonight. The Heat lead once again 3-1, so they can close out the Celtics if they can win. The winner's going to take on the Denver Nuggets, and they're just kind of sitting around watching, waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't start the NBA Finals till next week.
And the Lakers are just sitting around watching.
Oh,
too.
That's too bad about the Lakers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Wow. Several weight loss drugs are gaining popularity. Now companies say that they are working on some new medications, which they say could surpass what's currently on the market and give people even better results.
And downtown, SA Live getting cranked up for a big, oh, you know what? That looks like cotton candy right there.
Oh.
Look at Mike making some cotton candy.
Oh.
Ooh. It's going to be a fun SA Live. Got a little
and he's
sticky
drinking
too.
something.
He's drinking and making cotton candy.
It looks like wine. Wine
Oh,
and cotton
no.
candy?
Oh, no.
That's not right. Today marking 3 years since George Floyd's death, the 46-year-old killed by Minneapolis police officers in 2020. A moment in history that sparked protests throughout the country. An officer held him down with a knee on his neck, all of which caught on cameras with a crowd of bystanders shouting at officers to stop. All 4 of the officers who took part in the fatal restraint of Floyd have now been convicted on both state and federal charges. The following year, the officer who was seen kneeling on Floyd's neck was sentenced to more than 22 years in prison.
House Oversight Chairman James Comer and FBI Director Christopher Wray are set to meet in the next few days. The Kentucky Republican continuing to move on his investigation into President Joe Biden's business dealings. Comer previously threatened to hold Wray in contempt of Congress if the agency refuses to comply with a subpoena for an internal document. According to a letter Comer sent Wray, a whistleblower alleges that the document shows then Vice President was involved in a criminal scheme with a foreign national. The White House has previously slammed the claim against Biden, calling it an unfounded, politically motivated attack.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis making it official in his bid for the Republican presidential nomination. He did it live on Twitter. The unconventional announcement, however, had some technical issues. Despite the rough start, DeSantis is in good standing with Florida voters, winning re-election last year in a 19-point landslide. He's also raised more money by far than any other Republican challenger to former President Donald Trump.
With the success of drugs designed to treat type 2 diabetes and obesity, helping people lose weight, researchers are working on more options. The experimental drugs aim to surpass a couple of other successful weight loss drugs. Several of the new medications now in development could increase weight loss and offer other additional health benefits. Some of the experimental drugs could even be offered in pill form rather than injections, but it could be years before many of the new drugs reach the market.
Take a look outside with live cam. You'd never know it if you looked at this. It's a pretty day out there, but we could be in store for some rain in a couple hours.
Could be. You know, we've been watching these storms all morning long. They started way up in the Texas Panhandle, and they've made traveled a good distance now into the Texas Hill Country, and they're still holding together, which is pretty impressive. Let me show you on the radar where these storms are at this hour. They've made it through Rock Springs, and they're actually picking up speed just a little bit. You see kind of the heavier cluster there starting to work into Real County. So Lakey, you need to be on the lookout for these storms. They're not severe, but they are strong. You're going to get some lightning and thunder. There could be some small hail. And I think you're going to get some pretty gusty winds here in Lakey if this does hold, and it looks like it will. When you see these lines kind of bow out a little bit like that, they often have some pretty strong gusty winds with them. And so, again, if you're in Lakey, you want to keep an eye out for these storms. They're moving now at about 35 miles per hour. So we can put a track on this, draw it out here. And we'll call for 35 miles per hour here, moving out to the south and east. And that would put it in Lakey at about 12:52. So before we end the show, these storms may be moving through your neck of the woods. Los Maples, 102. And then this will make its way down towards Medina County if it does hold together. And Bandera, that's another place so we'll want to keep a lookout for these storms. Now, in theory, they should be weakening some, but they just have not done that. We're still getting quite a few lightning strikes. And what we can do here is put the lightning counter on. And you'll see that we're still recording here 122 strikes, lightning strikes. You know that these are still fairly robust. Now, the numbers are down a little bit as far as the lightning strikes go, but holding for right now. And we'll continue to watch these storms, again, as they're moving southeast at a pretty quick clip. Here in San Antonio, it remains to be seen if we see any of this rain. If that does hold together, then we could see a few showers, maybe 2, 3 o'clock. We'll certainly let you know if that's the case. Otherwise, we're in the upper 80s this afternoon, and then down into the 70s tonight, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
Remembering Tina Turner and her legacy on and off stage, from surviving abuse to breaking barriers and becoming one of the most powerful performers of all time.
ABC's Steve Osunsami on a woman who was a trailblazer, an icon who proved it's never too late to try again.
Long before she was asking what's love got to do with it, the always incomparable Tina Turner was in love with a man who famously didn't treat her right. Back then, people didn't call it domestic violence. But when she left him and the reality of their relationship poured into the papers, she spoke for women and families struggling with abuse at home. In this documentary film from 2021 that aired on HBO, she and her children explained how hard it was to leave.
2 days later, black-eyed, this eye stayed black.
You know, he took a lot of his anger out on her.
The next day, it was the 4th of July, and I said, "What a 4th of July?" But I'll remember every time, the 4th of July is when I got my freedom.
Her freedom came at great cost. She left with her name and little more. But she showed the world that it's never too late to start over when in the early 1980s she became bigger than Ike and Tina Turner ever were. She recorded her most successful album, Private Dancer, in just 2 weeks after one of the songs that would appear on the record caught fire.
Let me be the one you come running.
She was in her mid-40s teaching the young kids how it's done with the most famous legs in show business that people long rumored were insured for millions. She became an inspiration for a world of women led by Oprah Winfrey. And her fashion was iconic. Pretty soon, few people were really remembering her ex-husband.
The world is bereft without a Tina Turner in it because she symbolizes Black life. Tina Turner is Black woman's life and vitality against the odds, against an abusive childhood, against an abusive marriage, against the abuses of the industry.
Her story became an Oscar-nominated movie and Tony Award-winning musical. Actress Angela Bassett, who famously portrayed Turner on screen, writes that Tina Turner showed others who lived in fear what a beautiful future filled with love, compassion, and freedom should look like. Without question, Tina Turner leaves this world having changed the way we talk about surviving abusive relationships with her powerful, brassy voice and the most honest melodies.
That was Steve Osunsami. Memorial Day travel expected to see an uptick. How airlines are working to handle that rush.
A viral video finally answering the age-old question, why did the moose cross the road? The answer coming up.
I thought it was a chicken.
Moose.
And this Memorial Day weekend, usually a great time to take advantage of the sales. However, if you notice there are less discounts, there's a reason for it. What shoppers are looking for that is affecting your holiday sales.
New today at 5, the sun is heating things up just in time for summer. To protect you and your family from the sun's harmful rays, we're breaking down which sunscreens on the market offer the best protection. That's today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight. Memorial Day still a few days away, but some people are already getting an early start to the long weekend. The FAA says today will be the busiest day for flying over the extended holiday weekend. More than 50,000 flights expected to take off today, and it's shaping up to be one of the busiest summer travel seasons in recent memory. AAA projects that 42.3 million people will travel more than 50 miles from home, which is up 7% from 2022. The holiday weekend will also be an early test for airlines, and the FAA comes after new measures were put in place to avoid chaos that we've seen at airports recently. And airlines say they're ready for the travel rush.
Oh, yes, we have a lot more people than last year. We learned a lot over the pandemic.
And if you do run into problems, the Department of Transportation created dashboards spelling out what passengers can expect from airlines when flights are canceled or significantly delayed.
Memorial Day weekend, also a time for bargain hunters to find some good deals. However, some discounts are being hampered by retailers who are struggling with all the returns. So according to returns consulting company Navar, return rates in 2022 were about 14% higher than 2019. And for every return of items worth $100, it cost the company roughly $26.50. And that cost is being passed on to us in the form of higher prices and stores instituting stricter return policies.
I think we've all been conditioned to just be able to buy as much as we want online, knowing that if it doesn't work out, we can just return it pretty liberally. That's kind of coming to an end.
So Zara, Shoe Carnival, and H&M are now charging shoppers for returns by mail, but they're also offering free returns inside the stores in the hope that customers will buy something else while they're there. Another trend? Amazon shoppers are now seeing warnings pop up while they're shopping if they're looking at a product that is frequently returned.
Interesting. Wow.
Things are changing.
Curb a little shopping online, shouldn't it?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Well, that thing behind you is coming at you hard and fast right there.
Well, it is. It's moving quick, guys. I'm estimating now that this is moving about 35 miles per hour off to the south and east. Now, the current track would take this kind of west of San Antonio, at least the bulk of the heavy stuff. But this is right on the doorstep of Lakey. And what we're most concerned about here right now is gusty winds right along the front edge of this line of storms. It is held together for a couple hundred miles, and it looks like it's going to hold together for a while longer. We're going to take another look at this coming up. Welcome back. Let's get back to the radar and show you where these storms are headed. They have, again, held together for a long distance now, and they're starting to move into the hill country. These are not severe, let me make that clear, but we are picking up on some very gusty winds with these storms, and there could be some small hail mixed in there. I can't completely rule that out, but we're not looking for large hail. I think it's mainly going to be wind gusts probably to around 40 miles per hour or so. And they're moving quick now. They are on the doorstep of Lakey. I believe we said 12:52 earlier for the track. I think that's going to be just about right as it moves into Lakey, Los Maples, and the Vanderpool area, crossing over Highway 83 right there. It is going to bring some heavy rain with it, but they're moving so fast, you're not going to have a lot of flooding issues or anything like that. You will hear the thunder and lightning. We've got a ton of lightning strikes associated with this right now, recording about 124. But notice that number is coming down, so that tells us this is weakening ever so slightly. We're seeing less of those purple colors and more just kind of the reds and oranges here, which just indicates some heavy rain and, again, maybe some gusty winds. Now, in general, this kind of heavier part of this line is moving more in a southeasterly direction. So looks like if it continues on its current trek here that it may miss San Antonio to the west. We'll see what happens with this lighter activity up here. And I can switch radar sites real quick, and that may be helpful here. We'll switch over to the radar that's in New Braunfels, and it does show this activity to our north a little bit better. But to make a long story short here, I think that this is probably going to weaken as it moves towards San Antonio, but it does need to be watched. This kind of flow that we're in, this northwesterly flow, it is tricky. Computer models struggle with it. And a lot of times these storm systems can travel long distances and hold together. And that's exactly what's happening in this case. So my best advice that I can give you, even though this is weakening, let's look at the radar, and we'll, of course, keep you updated here for the next couple of hours. And if we need to do a live update on the KSAT weather app, we'll do it. We'll let you know. Again, nothing severe, though, at the moment. KSAT 12-hour forecast. Notice we do not have rain chances in here around San Antonio. But if that line does hold together, we'll need to add those around 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Temperatures should be up into the upper 80s. We're already seeing temperatures warm into the 80s at this hour. It's going to be a warm afternoon, and then partly cloudy tonight with temperatures in the 70s. As we look at the extended forecast here, we're expecting temperatures to be in the upper 80s Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll get a 30% chance of storms coming up Monday and Tuesday. So that's another time frame we're kind of watching with regards to getting a few more storms in place as an area of low pressure moves towards Texas, and that will increase our rain chances just a little bit. And very quickly, I want to show you kind of the big picture here when it comes to that storm that we were talking about and the distance that it has traveled. You see there, it started up around New Mexico and Panhandle of Texas and has made its way all the way down to San Antonio. That is, again, quite a trek there for those storms. And we'll check in on the radar continuously here for the next half hour or so, or well into the afternoon if we need to, and I'll let you know where these storms end up. One more check of the radar, and I'll show you once again that moving into Lakey as we speak with some heavy rain, gusty winds, and lots of lightning. Guys.
You could call it a baby moose fail, but it was a win for anybody looking on.
Oh, poor little guy.
Oh.
And as Jenny Moos tracks the moose that stopped traffic.
Aw.
Why do you always see moose on the loose where they shouldn't be, being corralled by a couch in an Alaskan hospital? Or munching on popcorn inside a movie theater? This time,
come on, little calf, get over there.
It was a calf unable to follow its mom over a highway divider.
Couldn't or wouldn't? What do you think?
Couldn't. Well, calf looked like about a week old.
Truck driver Rodney Pierre shot the scene as it played out in Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. The mother kept jumping over the barrier as if to show her baby what to do. But no matter how many times she demonstrated,
jump, jump. Oh.
No way. But at least these two didn't end up like Rocky and Bullwinkle. A good Samaritan stopped to help, but the mom didn't appreciate it.
The guy who got out of his car, what was his strategy?
I don't know. Looks like he was going to pick that calf up and lift it over.
It's not uncommon for moose to slam into vehicles. In the end, mom and calf opted to take the exit ramp towards Walmart. And if you're ever tempted to give a baby moose a lift, better to vamoose. Jeannie Moos, CNN, New York.
I've actually been there. I mean, I have been on a road driving a car and a moose came at us like, you're in my road, lady.
But the man with the big horns, big antlers.
Very dangerous.
Man, yeah. Well, you don't go after a mama's baby. I don't
Never.
care who you are, what you're doing.
Did you see this?
Wow.
Okay.
They gave us samples.
Are we supposed to sample this now?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Go ahead and open that, take a taste, and tell us what you think of the flavor. All right. And meanwhile, Mike is busy spinning up some cotton candy, and Lauren Leal with Sugar Clouds Cotton Candy joins us. And cotton candy was invented by who?
A dentist, actually.
A dentist? Why?
Yes, because it was a candy that didn't stick to your teeth.
Did it stick?
No, it'll stick to your fingers up.
It sticks to your lips, though.
I know. However, I wonder what wine would go good with cotton candy. Who would know?
An expert.
Brian Gonzalez, an expert from the board couple. How are you, sir? Okay, cotton candy, a nice little treat.
Cotton candy? I don't know. So it might dissolve nice in a nice sparkling. How about a sparkling wine? That sounds fun.
I like that.
All right. And then wine in a box, yay or nay? Let us know. SA Live continues in a few minutes.
That and a whole lot more.